So hello guys, good evening everyone. Can you let me know if I'm audible and if my screen is visible? Yes guys. Okay, great. So we'll be starting shortly. But before that, let's wait for 2 more minutes for people to join. So guys, if you remember previously, we started with the basics of HTML, and in that we talked about what are tags, right? And after that, we also talked about the boilerplate code. Now we'll be studying some more common tags which are very frequently used, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that, what they do and how we can use them, right? So we'll be learning few more tags which can help us out, and yes, that is what we'll be doing today. Yeah, so we can directly jump into our code sandbox because we really don't need to do anything here, right? Whatever we need to, we can do directly in the code sandbox. So you can see this is what we did priorly. We talked about, you can see, headings. So 6 different types of headings available. So we talked about all of them. And we also talked about the paragraph tag. Now we'll proceed and we'll talk about some new tags. So we can just delete them as they are not required for now. And yeah, now we can start a little bit fresh. So yes, what are we going to talk about? Now guys, let's again talk about the paragraph element first because there is something additional I want to talk to you about. So guys, this is our paragraph element and we know that, yep, this is how it looks. But if you really see the way it is used or the way it is designed, you'll see something, you can say, different, or not actually different, but it is a behavior which is followed by the paragraph element. So let's say I write lorem inside it. I know that is a shortcut for creating a random paragraph. So I created a random paragraph. Now let's just see it. Yes. And I can see it on the screen. Yeah. Now guys, one thing which a paragraph has is basically you can't create line breaks in between. So basically you can't have, let's say you want to break the line in between, you can't do it. You can see the time I save it, it just goes back to its previous line. And you can see even here, I can't see any line break. So guys, that is something which is present in paragraph. So what to do if you want to actually create a line break? There is something you can use known as a BR tag, a break tag. Absolutely. So we can use something known as a BR tag. So let's say that after a particular point, I want to use a break tag. How can I do it? It's very simple. Let's say after the line here, I want to use a break tag. So I can write a BR and it is a self-closing tag, guys. You can see I added a BR tag and now you can see we have a line break. Now it starts from a new line. So yeah, guys, this is how you use a BR tag. Okay, a break tag. Now guys, it's not like you need to provide a particular new line for it. It's totally fine for clarity purposes. I would write it in a new line because it is a little bit more clear that yes, we have a break in between and now we can see it. Now, is there a restriction of how many lines of break you need to give? Not exactly. You can give as many lines of break you want. Let's say I want a space to be represented in between, not just a break, but also one more line break. So yes, I can. I can just add another BR tag and I can see the break of another line. So guys, this is how you use a BR tag. And it's not like you can use it only inside a paragraph. You can use it anywhere. Okay, you can use it even outside a paragraph. Let's say I have another paragraph. I have another paragraph and it also has some lorem ipsum text inside it. Okay. Now if I see I have two paragraphs and by default, because of some CSS properties. So every single HTML element, guys, have a particular default property. Okay. They have some default styles applied to them so that they look the way they are supposed to or the way they should. And that's why you can see it that the paragraphs look this way. So in the paragraph, you actually have something known as a spacing at the top and bottom. So they have some spacing at the top and bottom. And that's why you can see that although I do not have a line break here, but still I can see a space in between. That's because of automatic spacing, which a paragraph by default, a default style, which it contains. Let's say I want one more line break. Can I have it? Absolutely, you can. So I can use a break even outside the paragraph. So it's not like I can use it only inside a paragraph. I can use a break tag even outside the paragraph. And you can see I got another break, guys. I got another space in between. Yeah, so now we got it. Now we know how to use a break tag inside and outside a paragraph. Simple. Now, guys, let's talk about another, you can say, element which is way more common than paragraph tags. And that is known as a div tag, guys. So the most common element you would ever find in HTML is something known as a div tag. Okay, so let's talk about it as well. So this is how you are supposed to create something known as a div tag. So you write div and you close your div tag. Now, what exactly is this div tag used for? It is known as a division tag or a divide tag. Okay, so it is used for creating division or section. Okay, that is what it is used for creating. Absolutely. So what exactly we use it for? Let's say you have a website. Let's say this is your website. Now, most probably, if it is a big website, even if it is a small website, you know that there will always be some sort of sections. Like this is your first section. This is what you need to create. This is your second section. This is what you need to create. This is your third section. And this is, let's say, your fourth section. So yes, always it is better to divide your work and then do it. That's why we create small divisions and then work with them. And that's why we need div tags. Div tags are used for creating small divisions and then working with them. So for all of these, I can use a div tag, and then inside it, I can write or use whatever I want. So basically in a div, I can have a heading inside it. I can have a paragraph inside it. I can have image, whatever I want. So division is basically creating or used for creating sections. And secondly, it is used for basically writing child elements inside it. So basically a div tag can have a lot of different elements placed inside it. Let's say I place a heading. So for basically wrapping two or more elements inside a div, or basically wrapping two or more elements inside a parent element, we use a div tag. So I can use a h1 like this. I can use a paragraph or whatever tag you want, guys. It totally depends. Whatever you want, you can include inside a div tag. So it's a sort of wrapper, yes, or a encapsulation. Yes, it works as a wrapper or a encapsulation. Now, we know this is what a div tag looks like, and you can even use it if you want to. So now we created two paragraphs and a BR tag. Can I wrap it inside a div? Absolutely, you can. I can create a div tag, a division. I can close that div tag, and inside it, I can create, or basically I can paste the paragraph, BR tag, and another paragraph. You'll see that I really didn't see any change in the output. So guys, division which we use, the div tag which we use is actually invisible in nature. So you won't be able to see it as a boundary, but yes, that is what it is used for. Yeah, guys, div tags are very important. Because if you see, whenever you create a website, you will always create it in divisions, sections and divisions. If you don't have divisions, it will be very, you can say, quite impossible for you to arrange and do arrangements in your website, do particular things in your website. Because every time there will be a division required for placement of a particular element, for arrangement of a particular element, or a bunch of elements. So yes, divisions have an importance. You will understand it very well when we go further and when we create certain different sections. Okay. Now, inside the div, we can even place whatever you want. So let's also place a heading just for the sake of it. And we can say something, just something. So that's our heading. So now you can see we have a div. Inside a div, I have a heading, I have a paragraph, I have a break tag and a paragraph. And yeah, guys, nesting is possible. Okay, so it's not like that a div tag can only contain other elements. You can even create a div which contains inside it another div. So yes, nesting is possible. I can have a parent which also contains a child as a div. And now inside this div, I can have a heading or a element or whatever I want. So yes, totally possible. I can have a heading here. I can have a paragraph here. Everything you see or you think here in terms of divs as a child and parent relationship is possible, is workable with. Okay, now I think it is clear what the div is used for. Yes, guys. Then we'll proceed. Okay, fine. Now let's talk about a little bit of text formatting, guys, because text formatting is important. So the way, guys, I told you that you can use a BR tag, right? I told you that you can use a BR tag to have a line break. There are also something known as text formatting. So you can show your text in a particular format. So we will talk about a little bit about text formatting. Yep, that is what we will talk about. Now, text from formatting is pretty simple. Okay. So let's talk about it. So text formatting, basically different types of text you can create. Like I can create a bold tag. You can say bold text with the help of B tag. So if I want to create something to look like bold, then usual text, I can use a B tag. Similarly, I have a strong tag. Similarly, I have a italic or I tag. Similarly, I have a EM tag. Similarly, I have a mark tag. I have, you can say, small tags. So there are a lot of them, guys. We'll just directly see them in use and it will be very clear what they do. So what I'll do, now we know the funda of divs. So we'll use a division because this is, you can say, a bunch of things which relate to something on its own. So we will use a div tag. And the first thing we will write is a heading for it. Now, what are we talking about? We are talking about text formatting. Yep. Now inside it, the first thing we have is something known as a bold tag. So B tag can be used to write some bold text. So I can say bold text and it would be pretty visible that yes, it is a bold text. You can see this is seem to me a bold text. Now after that, you also have something known as a strong tag, which can be used to create strong text. Now, guys, if you really ask me what is the difference between a bold and a strong text, it is just in terms of definition. Because when I write something inside it, you will see that bold and strong actually look the same in terms of design. Let me just write it down and you will see that there is no difference actually. You can see bold text is this and strong text is this. And they both look the same. No difference. Then why are they different tags? That is because the definitions are different. Right? Bold text is used for marking something as bold, whereas strong text is used for marking something as important. Okay, so you can just write important. So basically, strong tag is used for marking that a text or something is important. The definition of them is different. Yes, higher importance if we are talking about a strong tag. So yes, they look the same. There will be some more tags which will look similar, but they are different in terms of definition. Okay, so remember that if you want something to be looking strong as compared to others, then you use a bold tag. If you want something to be looking important, then you use something known as an important tag. See guys, if you really think about it, if you really think about the logic, very good question. So someone asked that why exactly bold tag and a strong tag are in the same line. So what is the reason? That is because if you really think about it, these tags are not just made to be used individually, right? They won't make sense. Like I want to show something individually or important, I can show it in the new line. But what if I want to show something in this whole paragraph to be bold? How would I do that? Can I use still the strong tag? Absolutely. That was the reason strong tags are always in a single line. So it means they only take the space they require. So in a paragraph, I can actually make something as strong and it would not come in a new line. Because why? They require only the space they require. Okay, so they would only take the space they need and rest of it can be occupied by something else. Yes, we can use or we can write it anywhere in a paragraph. And if you really logically think about it, that should be correct, right? It should take only the space it requires. Otherwise, it will come to a new line. And that would make no sense. Yeah, we'll talk about that because there are some two properties related to a something known as inline and block. I just don't want to confuse you with that. And that's why I didn't explain them to you. For now, you can understand the logic. Because these tags can also be used inside paragraphs and they should work the same way. That's why they are only in a single line. They can be used wherever they are required, either in a paragraph, either outside the paragraph. But they would only occupy the space they need. Now, after that, we have something known as a I tag. And that means italic text. After that, you have something known as a EM tag. And EM tag is used for showing emphasized. Okay. EM is used for showing emphasized. Okay. Now, if you really ask me that, what will be the difference between emphasized text and you can see italic text? No difference. The difference is in terms of definition. Then you have something known as a mark. So mark basically is used for showing marked text. Like you have highlighted text, that is what we mean by marked text. You can see it is highlighted. Now, can I change the color? I don't want it to be blue or sorry, yellow. Yes, absolutely. I can do it. But that would require a little bit of CSS, only one line of CSS. Now, I also have something known as small, which can be used to write smaller text as compared to others. So yes, and I might have made some mistake. Let me just see. Yes, I has been included by mistake. And yes, now you can see it is fairly smaller as compared to other elements. Then we have a DEL, which stands for deleted text. So it is basically a underline between the text. So you can see this is like a checklist you have. Deleted text. It means it will show a underline between the text. Similarly, you also have something known as INS, which means inserted. So let's say inserted text. And as you said, you can understand this is what inserted text means. Why is it called inserted text? Because if you really think about it, it seems like a fill in the blank, right? This was a sentence or something, and this was a blank which was filled or inserted with some text. That's why it is known as inserted text. Okay. Now, there is something known as sub and SUP, super. So if you actually understand, you have mathematical equations in which you have sub and super. So that is what sub and super are used for. Subscript and superscript. So this is subscript text. And you can see it is a little bit positioned at the bottom because it is at the sub bottom. And then you also have something known as sup, which is used for superscript. Yeah. And yes, these are sub and super script texts. So yeah, guys, these are different form of text formatting. Text formattings. Okay. No, guys, underline is actually the same thing. But yeah, definition wise, yes, you can say there is a difference. Now, guys, let's proceed and let's talk about something known as lists, guys. Now, what if I want to create a list type of system or a sort of list inside, you can say my HTML. Can I do it? Yes. What are the different types of lists I can create? I can create two types of lists, ordered and unordered. So if I want to create a list, first thing I need is something known as an encapsulation, which tells me that my list starts from this point and ends at this point. So what I'll do, I'll first create a div, just that, so that I know that we are talking about lists in this place. So I'll create a h1. This is nothing required. I'm just doing it so that now we use divs properly and you know how exactly it is used. You can say I'm creating divisions. This was my first division where we talked about divs and BR tags. This was our second section where we talked about the text formatting. And now we are talking about something known as ordered and unordered list, right? That is what we are talking about. You'll see it at the bottom. Now, for creating an ordered list, it's very simple. For creating an ordered list, let's use H3. H3 would be good. So let's first talk about ordered list. How to create it? You use something known as a OL tag. So OL tag is something which defines that my ordered list starts from here and will end here. So in between, whatever number of list items you need to write, you write in between the OL tags, starting and closing tag. Now, how do you define a list element? Simply write LI. List item. So basically LI stands for not list element, but list item. So this is your first list item. Let's say you write coffee. And yes, you can see it is an ordered list. So it starts from 1. So yes, guys, ordered lists are, you can see in the format ordered 1, 2, 3, 4 counting format. So I can create another LI element or a list item and I can write whatever I want. Let's say I write T. And you can see I have second, you can say item inside or item inside my list. Similarly, I can also create a unordered list. So yes, we can create an unordered list. And if you really thought about it, yes, only one thing changes. This OL changes to ordered list changes to unordered list. So it changes to UL. That's it. Nothing else would change. So if I just change this OL to UL, it will become an unordered list. So LI list item stays the same. And this is unordered list. And if I scroll at the bottom, you can see this is an unordered list where we are using something known as dots. Now, what if I don't want to use this ordering format of 1, 2? Can I change it? Can I use anything different? Or is it always going to be in a sequence 1, 2? I can actually change it. I can make it alphabetical. Or I can make it numerical. How? Very simple. So in the ordered list, I can actually use something known as an attribute, guys. We have not talked about the attributes yet, but yes, we'll talk about them later. For now, you can understand that it is something which actually is used. So attributes are basically something used for adding additional properties to an element. So I'm saying the ordered list can work fine if I don't add this attribute. But I want to change something. I want to change a certain property. So I use the OL tag for it. I use the type attribute and I write 1, which is by default the same. So it means that the type of the ordered list I want is 1, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 sequence. And yes, by default, it is the same. So no difference, 1, 2. But if I change it and if I say capital A, now the ordered list sequencing changes from 1, 2, 3, 4 to AB. You can see that is the change, AB. If I want to change it to, you can say not capital, but small alphabets. Yes, I can. And you can see now it is in small a and B. Can I change it to anything else? Yes. Yes, we can do Roman. How? You can write I. So if you write I, it will be in smaller. You can see Roman. If you write something known as a capital I, it will start in capital. Right. Now, guys, there is one more thing which you can do. So yes, you can write something known as a type, but you can also write something known as a starting point. So you can write something known as start point. So let's say that I am using the counting format. I'm using the counting format, but I want to say that I don't want my counting to start from 1, but I want my counting to start from 50. Can I do that? Absolutely. And now you can see my counting starts from 50 and it applies for all the things. Yeah. So this is how basically your ordered list can be changed. The types can be changed. Now, can that be done for unordered list as well? Absolutely. Now, obviously the start value won't exist because you have something known as no start value. But yes, we also have something known as a type here. So we can use something known as a type, and I can change it to be disk format. Now, is disk format something different? No, this is what a disk format is. You can see circles. I can change it to, let's say, something like square. And you see, now we have squares. I can change it to something like none. And now you can see I don't have any type of format here or any type of dots or markings. So yeah, guys, these are different types which you can use, guys. Now, we know how ordered list works. I think it is pretty clear how ordered list works or unordered list and how to create a list. Yes or no, guys? Okay, great. So guys, just give me a sec and we will get back to it. So just a break of 2 minutes and we'll get back to whatever we were talking about. Okay, guys, let's continue. So I can see that there are some questions. Let me just tackle them and then we'll proceed. Okay, guys. So one thing I would like to help you out with. So see, guys, one thing which is important and you should all know is that CSS elements, right? Whatever you use, whatever elements you use, like we are using, you can see a list of elements like heading, like paragraph, like break tag, like div. Every single one of them actually has some by default CSS types or properties. Like you can pretty obviously see that my heading actually is pretty large. So it means it has a particular font size. You can see it's bold in size, or you can say bold in structure. So every single element by default has its properties, particular properties. Like I told you, a padding has a top and a bottom, something known as margin, which is used for spacing. So if there are two paragraphs, you can see there is spacing at the top and the bottom. Here, spacing at the top and the bottom. So every single element actually has, every single HTML element actually has some sort of default CSS applied to it. Now, it's definitely not, you can say, smart enough that if you think that I can remember all of them or any one of you can remember all of them. So what you can do is you can actually take a help of something which will help you to figure out what exactly can give you problems or what exactly you need to know about before starting working with them. Okay, I'll tell you the resource where you can find these details. So what you need to search is default styles for HTML elements. You just search for it, and the first one which you will get is W3 School, default CSS values for HTML elements. You go here and you'll find a list of all the different, you can see EM tag and different tags which you can use and what are the different CSS properties applied to them. It will just help you out in remembering few of the CSS properties. Okay, so let me just find something known as a heading so that I can show you. Like you can see this heading has a font size of 2 EM, a margin of top, and a lot of different things. So you can actually use them. Guys, is my voice breaking for all of you? Okay, fine. So yeah, guys, this is a good resource if you want to just figure out how exactly each and every element works and what all properties it has. Now, most of the times, whenever you're designing, this actually does not matter. The reason being, most of the times you don't need to worry about a lot of them. You just need to worry about something known as spacing. Okay, so we'll talk about how to tackle spacing and how you need to worry about it or what you can do to tackle it. But for now, you actually don't need to. I'll just put this resource in the chat box so that if any one of you wants to note it down, you can. Right. And I'll also share it later. Guys, there is a difference. We'll talk about them. Fine. So now, guys, whatever we were using till now, these are our elements, guys. These are known as elements. Okay. These are elements. And whatever the two new things which we use, these are known as attributes, guys. Okay. Elements are, you can see these div, h1, h3. These are elements. Attributes are additional properties which you can specify to basically change some sort of or some you can say functionality of a particular, you can see, element. So attributes are just an addition to an element. If you don't add them, will it work? Yes. Right. There are some additional attributes which you can add to change the properties. That's what attributes are. Now, let's proceed. And yeah, guys, that's our second topic because we are going to talk about attributes in detail at this point. So yes, let's jump to it first. So what are attributes, guys? Let's talk about it. And let's talk about it in a little bit brief. Okay, because we'll be using it very commonly. You can see that in just this section, we require two different new attributes. So you need to know what attributes do. So what are attributes? And they are pretty common, guys. There are some, you can say, tags which actually require some compulsory attributes. If you don't add them, they won't work properly. So what are attributes? Attributes are basically, you can say, HTML attributes are additional. So they are just additional information, guys. It's just additional information about HTML elements. So it's additional information about HTML elements. And an HTML element can have single attribute. So it can have a single, a multiple, or no attribute. So it's not like it's compulsory. But yes. So it totally depends what type of element it is. And it depends on it that will it have attribute, will it require one, or will it require none. Okay, so it totally depends on the attribute and what you're trying to do with that particular element. Now, for example, these are some of the common attributes which you would find in all the elements. So I'm talking about some common attributes which you can use in all the elements. Let's say if I have a paragraph tag, if I have a heading tag, if I have any other tag, whichever I want, a div tag, all of the attributes which I specify here are applicable to all of them. So I can add an attribute known as title. Okay. Now attribute always have something known as, you can see, a property, and you have something known as a value. Okay. After the equal to, you have something known as a value. Okay. Yeah. So what we need to do, we have a property, and after that we have a value. Now title is something which is very common and you can have at every single thing. You can have a paragraph with a title or a title attribute. H1 can have a title attribute. A div can have a title attribute. We'll talk about it in detail just after we talk about all the common attributes. Class is a common attribute. ID is a very common attribute. Right. See, these are some attributes which are very common and can be used in any element or any sort of element you want. There is no restriction. Now, there are some, you can say, elements or you can say attributes which are restricted at some points. Like you can't use it every single where. They are just restricted to a particular element. But yes, these are commons. You can use them here. You can use them here as well, or any other element you want in future, right? So you can use it everywhere. Now, what is a title? So guys, title basically, as the name defines, it's just the title of that paragraph, that what exactly that paragraph is doing, right? That's the title. Now, H1 definitely does not need a title because it's a heading, but yes, we have an attribute title. Now, where exactly do you see it? What exactly does it do? Very simple. Now, you might have seen that most of the times, whenever you have a text or something, if you hover over it, you get a small pop-up sort of thing at the bottom, which tells an additional property or detail about that element. That is known as a title. Okay, yeah, guys, fine. You can change it definitely. Yeah, it should not be P, it should be H1 and div, fine. You can do it. But let's proceed. Now, guys, I told you that paragraph, right? In the paragraph, you can add something known as a title attribute. What exactly will it do? Let's see. So I have this paragraph, and let's say I add a title attribute. Now the title attribute basically defines additional knowledge or additional info about that particular thing. So let's say that I have a paragraph, but if I want the user to know a little bit more about that paragraph, I can say that this para is about me. So this paragraph is about me. And this is the additional detail or additional info about my paragraph, which I specified in the title attribute. Now, where will I see it? You can see I am not able to see it anywhere. Then when will I see it? Whenever you hover over that element. So if I am reading through that paragraph and if I just hover over it, you'll be able to see the small pop-up which says this para is about me. You might have seen this use case a lot of places at a lot of different places. But yes, this is what it is. It is a small title and it can be added to anything you want. Yeah. Now, you can say title. Now, what is a class and what is a ID, guys? Now, these have certainly nothing to do with, you can say, HTML at this point of time. So they are not specifically used for HTML at a lot of places. Yeah, guys, this title attribute can be used at any places. Now, class and ID, what are these then? Basically, class and IDs are used for CSS actually. Not exactly for, you can say, HTML, but most properly used for, so class and something known as ID are mostly used for something known as CSS or something known as JavaScript. Now, what are these? Class is basically a way of specifying that your element follows a particular class. For example, let's say that I have a school. Now, in a school, I say that I'm in 10th class, right? Now, if I actually tell you that I'm in 10th, you know that with me, there are certain different people who might be present in 10th, right? So it's a sort of a class where multiple people or students can be present inside it. But this is a class, guys. This is a class. A bunch of groups or bunch of people who have a same property, which is class. But what is ID then? If I tell you a roll number, if I tell you my specific roll number, then it's a ID. So anything specific is a ID. So basically IDs are something which is unique for any element. Classes are something which can be repeatedly used. So multiple people can say that I am from a 10th class, but a single person can say that I have a roll number 1, right, in the 10th class. So yes, that is what a class and ID is. Now, if you ask me that why exactly do I need this? So the reason you need them is for something like styling. So styling is just one example. Let's say styling. In styling, let's say in CSS, let's say I have bunch of groups or I have multiple things which I want to be styled the same way. Let's say I have 3 headings, H1, then another H1 and another H1. I want, let's say not even H1, we can even take H2, whatever tag you want. Let's say I have 3 headings, different headings, and I want all of them to have a color of blue. How can I do it? I can use a single class. I can say that they all follow a single class. I can give them a single class. And now, if they have a similar class, I can target this class and I can say that whichever element has the same class, apply a color of blue to it. Okay, that is how it is done. So all of them will have a same class, whatever you want. And now a particular style can be applied to all of them on the basis of a singular class which they have, common class which they have. Got it? Got it what classes are made for? It is like a categorization so that you can apply same sort of styles to multiple elements. Similar to this, you can have something known as an ID. Okay. Now, guys, if you ask me, can I have multiple classes? Absolutely, guys. It's not like you can have just a single class. You can have multiple classes. Okay. So let's say that all of them have a property of heading. Okay. So all of them are heading. So I have, let's say, you can say style which says that all headings or all the elements which have a property of heading need to be green in color. After that, I can have an additional class. So multiple classes can be present for a particular element. An element can be present for multiple classes. Similarly, you have something known as an ID. You can have an ID and you can add an ID to a particular element. Now, what is the use case for ID? Let's say that in my whole page, I have, let's say, an element which I want to be uniquely styled. No other element has a same style to it. So I can use an ID for it. Let's say I have a paragraph in my page and I want it to have a unique style which none of the other elements in the page should have. Then I can give it an ID and I can say that target this element with this ID and apply so and so styles to it. And then the styles will be applied. Got it, guys? Yeah, guys, you can have two types of classes or multiple classes for a single element. That works. See, guys, IDs are something like this. Very simple, guys. Let's say on my page, I have an element which is not present anywhere on my page. Okay, very simple guys, unique elements. If you want to apply something unique to element, you use ID. Very simple example, I say this is my page. Okay, in this page, I have 3 different headings. I want all of them to have a same style. I use class for it because they all have same styles. I have, let's say, a round icon here, and some text. I have some more text. I have some more text. Now I know that on this whole page, I have only this single unique round icon. So do I need a class for it? Not exactly, because it is a unique element. I can just simply use an ID. On this whole page, I'm never going to use it again. So I can use an ID for it to style it. That's what an ID is. Got it? Yeah, it sounds like confusing, definitely, but it will be a little bit more clear when we use it. Now, if you really ask me that, is that so important to use IDs and classes differently? Can I just use one of them? Yes, absolutely. So you can actually do the work of IDs with the help of classes as well. What did I say? I made it a little bit more confusing, but if you really think about it, yes, you can do it. Let's say I create a class. Let's say I create a class of Apple just for some reason. Now I know that this is a unique class. I don't want it to be used anywhere on the page. That's it. I note it down somewhere and I say this is a unique class. I won't use it anywhere else. And therefore, these styles will never be copied anywhere else. But yes, that can be done. Now, let's proceed and let's talk about something different. See, classes are something which can be reused. Okay. So classes have 2 types. Either it can be reused or it can be used individually. So if I reuse it, then multiple elements can have single type of styles. If I use it individually, I can have an individual style for individual element. So it will work like an ID, sort of ID. But classes or basically IDs can only always be individual. Okay. That is what you need to remember. So class can work like sort of like a reusable element or a reusable class or a ID. But whereas IDs can work only like itself. Okay. Now let's proceed. I know definitely it might confuse you a little bit, but it will be a little bit more clear when we go into or when we talk about CSS, right? Because in CSS, we'll be seeing example. Yeah, guys, let's proceed. Now, after this, what else do we need to talk about? Okay. Now let's talk about one more element, which is very frequently used, which is an image attribute. Okay. Basically an image element. Now guys, let's say in a page you want to add an image. How can I do it? I can use an image element. Now with the image element, I can use 2 different attributes with it. So image is a self-closing tag, remember that. And after that, inside it, I can use a source attribute. Source attribute basically specifies that what is your image. So you need to specify the image details here, the URL for the image or the file where exactly it is present. And you have an alt attribute. Alt is an alternative. So if your image is not able to load, this is the text. Whatever text you write here will be shown to the user. That is what an image tag is. Now let's see it in action. Very simple, guys. There are 2 different ways of using image. One of them is getting it from the internet. And another one of them is directly using it from your folder. So I can have an image directly uploaded here and then I can use it here. Or I can have it from the internet, directly have it from the internet. So let's say I look for flowers. And I go to the images and I have just an image of flower. Let's say this is the one. Can I use it? Yes. How I can right click on it? I can say copy image address, copy image address. I copied the address. I can go here. I can say image tag source. Inside the source, I can paste the copied URL. Right click, copy image address. Go here, paste it. This is my image address, right? Source, and after the source, I also have an alt. Alternative is basically the text which will be shown to the user if the image is not able to load successfully. Now you can see my image is able to load successfully, right? But if it is not, then I will show that text. So let's say that I made some error while importing this image. Let's say I wrote something wrong in my URL. I wrote something wrong. Then I'll see whatever I write here. Let's say I write flowers. Now you can see my URL is wrong. My image source is wrong. I deleted something. So what do I see? I see a logo icon and then a flowers. You can see alternative. So this is what is known as an alternative text. So if your image is not able to load, that is what is shown to the user. So that at least he knows what exactly the image was for. Right. It's a self-closing tab, guys. Image is a self-closing tab. Now, you can also add something known as two more things, which is width and height, to specify a proper width and height to it. Okay. So that you can see my image is actually too large for my screen size. You can see it is too large. So I can just make it a little bit small with the help of width and height. Although I can do it with the help of CSS, which we'll see in future. But yes, I can use the width and height attribute to arrange the height and width of this image. For now, let's say that it is going to be 200 pixels and 400 pixels, which I don't think would be perfect in ratio. But yeah, you can see this is how the image looks like. I can do it 250. Now, don't worry about the unit, guys. I know you don't know that what pixels is, what pixels means, but you can just worry about the size. So I'm saying that the size of the image is 250. So in the width, it is 250 and the height of the image is 400. So in the ratio, it is 400. Now don't worry about what pixels is, but yes, this is how you can display an image of a particular size. Yes, you can also do that. So let's say that you want to maintain a proper aspect ratio. Like you can see that my image is not properly being displayed because I don't know the ratio, right? If I specified a 250 as the width, I don't know what the height should be because I don't know the exact ratio of the width and height. What I can do is I can specify one of them. I can either specify just a width, then the height will be automatically arranged, or I can either specify a height and I can remove the width and the width will be arranged automatically. You can see it works perfectly. So the image is displayed in a proper fashion. The default ratio of the image, guys, totally depends on the ratio of the image itself. You can see at the bottom that when I basically right clicked and copy this image, it is in a very high resolution of 1886. You can see 1886 pixels into 2829. So that's the real ratio of the image, which is too large. It's a heavy image, guys. That's why I was shown that this image by default was too big. It totally depends. We can do it both, guys. See, we can do it both. So if you're asking, can I do both? Absolutely. But you won't be absolutely correct, right? If you really think about it, if I just give it 200, I know that they won't be proper, right? You can see the image does not look proper. It looks smudged. The width I gave was not accurate. You can figure out the width I gave was not accurate. Now, if you ask me, can't I do hit and try? And then I can get a proper width? Absolutely. But that's just a waste of time. Why would you do that? So what you can do, you can just remove one of the things and you would get a proper aspect ratio. The best thing. You can see I get a proper aspect ratio. I don't think that the image is smudged. It is absolutely correct. That's why we use this sort of tricks. Okay. Now, let's proceed. Now we know how images are used. Now let's also see how videos are used, guys. Similarly, you can also do this, guys. Let's see. I showed you one of the examples where you got the image from the internet. Now, can I download the image and use it? Yes, you can. So in my project folder, let's say I have a folder known as images. Okay, I have a folder known as images. Now what I want to do is I want to get this image and I want to paste it inside this folder. So let me just download it. I'll right click. I'll say, where is it? Save images as, and whatever it is, I'll save it. So I downloaded that image. Now I'll go back into my folder and I'll drag that image and I will upload it into my folder. So let me just do it. I'm uploading it. Okay, the image has been uploaded. I'll drag it inside my images folder. Now I can also basically use this image from this folder rather than but directly from the internet. But before that, the name is too complex. Let me just rename it to flower. And I just forgot what the file type is. Okay, JPG. So flower.jpg. Now I can use this flower.jpg as well, except for this URL which I have. I'll show it to you in another example. So I'll copy this, I'll paste it again. So everything else remains the same. Only the URL will change. So now we don't need this. Now we don't need the internet URL. Now I can use directly the image which I have inside my folder. How? I first need to navigate to that folder. So if you really ask me which folder or which place I am at, I'm in the main project. I'm in index.html. So I am here. I first need to go to images folder and inside it flower.png. So I'll say images slash. So now I'm inside images folder. Images slash means I'm inside images folder. And then I say flowers or flower.png. Save it and I should see the flower being displayed next to me. Okay, so one more thing I need here is like this. Okay, my bad. It should be not PNG, but JPG. JPG. And if you include the slash or not, that does not make any difference. You will still be able to see it. Yep, you can see at the bottom, I have two images now. Two flowers I can see, right? So yes, that is how you can. Yeah, not PNG, definitely. I wrote it wrong. Yes. Now you can see both of the images being displayed to next to each other. Now, what else do I have? Similar to this, I can actually also upload or you can say access videos. So I can do the same thing for audio or video. So let's see for audio and video as well. Now guys, first do it. Let's do it for video. But for the video, I'll first need a sample video. So what I'll do, I'll get a sample video. So I'll say sample video URL. Let's go to GitHub, and GitHub has some amazing sample video URL. So let me just get them. And yeah, this is the sample URLs. So I can grab any of the URLs. This is the sample video URL. I can use this. It is an internet-based URL. If you open it in a new tab, you'll be able to see the video. So you can see this is an animated video, and I will use this for the example. Okay. Now I can just copy it and I can use it in my project. I'll show you one of the ways because you know how exactly you can do it the different way. You can just download it and then put it inside your folder in a videos folder, and then you can use it the same way I showed you the images, because that works the same way. But I'll show you how to do it from the internet. Now guys, videos are actually different. Okay, the way you use video tag is actually different. It's not similar to image tag. Let me just show you what I mean. So for a video, what you need to say is first a video tag like this. But in this, you don't actually add attributes. For video tag, you don't have source and alt attributes. So these attributes are actually just for image. For video, you need something known as a source tag, guys. So you have a source tag for video. It's a self-closing tag like this. Now to this source tag, I can actually add something like a src like this. I don't know why they have created this way, but I'll tell you why they have created this way. So I'll tell you why they have a different syntax. Can't I do it this way? There was a reason they created it this way with a source in between. And it will be very clear when I show you an example. Let's say I paste that video link. Now, is this enough? Will I be able to see the video? Let's see. Okay. So I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a black screen, but I'm actually not able to see the video. Right? Why is that? So guys, whenever you have a video, there is one thing you need to remember. With this video, firstly, you need to have another attribute, which is known as something known as type. So basically type tells you that what is the type of the video. So firstly, I need to say that it is a video by saying video, and then slash, I need to specify the type of the video, which is MP4. Okay, so I'll say MP4. So this is one of the things. Now still it won't work. Okay, still you won't be able to access the video. There is one more thing you need to do. So this is one of the steps. Now after that, you also need something known as controls. Because if you see in this video, I get something known as controls to play it, pause it, and do everything else, right? So if you actually think about it here, you're actually seeing the video. If you see it, this is a starting screen, a black screen, and you are able to see a black screen. The reason you're not able to play it, pause it, is because you don't have these controls, guys. So that is what you require. You're not able to play it because you don't have those controls anywhere. So let me just open it in a new tab because it's a big, or you can say large sized video. So I want it to open in a new tab. You can see here. Now, if I want it to have controls in the, you can say video, you can add something like this. Controls. Now this is again an attribute, but this attribute does not require any value. Okay, it does not require any value. It's just a controls attribute. You just specify controls and it would say that, okay, it means you want controls for that video. And now you would also have something known as controls. And now you can even play it. You can see I have play, pause, and everything. I can play it. You can see I am able to see the elements and everything. And yes, even if I show it in a new page, you'll be able to see, yeah, I have. The video can be played. It can be paused. You can increase, decrease the volume. You can make it a full screen, or you can download it, play fast and slow, or you can do it in a picture mode. So yeah, guys, different possible things you can do with the controls, the usual basic controls. Because guys, YouTube is custom. If you really think about it, YouTube has its own player. Okay. YouTube created its own website player. That's why it is different, guys. So let's see. I don't think we have the skipping one, right? Skip, you're talking about the 10. So you can actually do it with the arrows, guys. Arrows work. So arrows can be used for that, but I don't think you have like the options or the buttons for them. Guys, this is a default browser player. Okay, every browser has a different type of video player. That is what it is. Now, if you see it in YouTube, YouTube have a custom YouTube player because they have their own YouTube player, guys. And they use, yes, and they use something known as iframe for it. Okay, YouTube players are different. If you want to use it, you need to have a YouTube video. You can't use any other video for it. You need to have a YouTube video for YouTube player. Now, let's talk about this, guys. Now, why exactly do we have this syntax? Can't I have done this in this sort of syntax? Like I could have specified a source, like just here. I could have specified the type just here, and then I can have specified the control. So why did they make it this way? There is a reason for it, guys. Now, what is the reason? Simple reason is that most of the times you can also specify more than one sources, guys. I can specify more than one sources. Now, if you ask me what is the logic behind it, will I be able to see two videos? Not exactly. I'm seeing a single video only. So what is, or why do we have two sources? This is for fail-safe reason, guys. This is known as fail-safe. Let's say you have two URLs of videos, two different alternative videos. Let's say your first video fails to load. Let's say my first video URL has some issue. Let's say I delete some URL from it. So I know it is not a valid URL. It's not a video URL. So will my video not be played or will my video not be shown? Not exactly. Why? Because it will first search for the first video, but if it is not found, it will skip and search for second video. So this is a fail-safe purpose. Let's say you have two videos. Let's say your first video fails to load, then you load the second video for the user. This is what, or this is why this form of, or this format was created. Now, if you ask me, why do we really require it? The reason being videos are large in size. Okay, images are very small. There is rarely a case when images are, you can say, failed to load. Okay, but videos are actually very large in size. There can be a scenario where the video is not successfully able to load. That's why. And yeah, guys, there is also the same thing. Let's say you have two videos, and there are some scenarios when the browsers are not able to support a single video type. Let's say I wrote here MP3 and I wrote here, let's say, OBS or something of another video type. Let's say if my first video type is not playable by the browser, then it will switch to another type. So yeah, guys, that is also one of the reasons that we have different types of sources, because every browser is not capable of running every single type of video type. Okay. That is also one of the reasons. What happens when the video ends? Nothing happens, guys. You can restart it. That's it. Nothing will happen. No, guys, always you require just a single link. So by default, you require a single video link. If you want, you can have more than one options as well. And yeah, guys, you also have something known as autoplay. Let's say that whenever you land on the page, you want the video to autoplay, you can add something like autoplay. And what it will do whenever you can see, I didn't click on the video, but it's automatically started playing. If I refresh it again, you can see I didn't click on it, but it automatically started playing. So yeah, that is also something you can add, autoplay. Now, that's it. That's it about videos. Similarly, you also have something known as audio, guys. So you have again a audio tag. Nothing else changes, guys. Again, the same, everything remains the same. So for audio, you also have something known as control or something known as controls. You also have for it something known as source. So you can say source for it. It's a self-closing tag. With it, you write SRC for any audio source, and you also specify something known as a type for it. In the type, you say audio slash and then the type of the audio. Let's say it is MP3. So I'll say MP3 and then I'll specify the audio here. So let's also get a sample audio. And I can say not a MP4. Audio URL for testing. Let's get an audio URL. Let's see what we get. So there was one. Yeah, this is the audio URL which we can get. So I can copy it, open it in a new tab, and let's see if I get the audio. Okay, yes. So I have the audio. Now I can go here and inside the source, I can place this audio and I should be able to have that audio with me. Yep. Yep. I have the audio and I have the playing and pausing section as well. Yes, guys. No, guys, not exactly, because you will still need the video to run, right? So if you have an autoplay, let's check. If we have an autoplay, without controls, it will work. Yes, guys. So if you have autoplay, you can see by default, automatically it can play, but you won't be able to pause it. Why? Because you don't have the controls. So that is something which you would require. Okay. So controls is something which is compulsory if you want it to be able to pause itself, right? That is what you would require. Let me just remove autoplay for now because it will by default play the video again and again. But yes. Let's see, guys. And yes, I have an option for autoplay. So does it actually autoplay? Absolutely, guys. You can see it is playing. Now you won't be able to listen the audio because it's audible to me, but not to you because I have noise cancellation on. But yes, it will be audible if you try it on, try it yourself. And yeah, guys, it has the same functionality. If you have multiple audios and one of them is not supported, it will shift to another source. See, guys, if you're using a different browser, it might not work. Okay, every browser does not support autoplay. Guys, for GIFs, you can simply use images because GIFs are nothing but images. Okay, they are low quality images. See guys, every browser is not able to support autoplay. There are many browsers where you will also see that the video also does not get played. So it totally depends on the browser as well, guys. Okay. Some browsers might be very old enough that they are not able to play a particular, you can say, video type, or they do not have the same controls which you see here. So if it is not a Chrome browser, yes, there is a possibility that you might see something different. So yeah, guys, that is possible, quite possible. Now, at the last, let's talk about one more thing, guys, and we'll end our class for today. Let's talk about one more important thing, which is anchor tags. Okay. On the URL part. Yeah, guys, this one is not secure, definitely. So I told you, most of the times your website can either be secured or not. So maybe this you can say MP4 URL is not secured, but that's not a problem, guys. Why? Because it's just a video. Even if someone is trying to you can say steal something, he won't be able to. What exactly will he be able to steal from a video, right? But yes, it's not a secured video. Now let's close it. We don't actually require them for now. And let's talk about, yes, anchor tags. So when we talked about HTML, we talked about hypertext. So yeah, that is what we are creating, hypertext, a possibility that I can navigate from one page to another, right? So it's very simple, guys. You use something known as a A tag for it. So what do I use? I use a A tag for it, anchor tag. And inside it, I can write, click me to go to, let's say, contact page. Let's create a contact page. Okay. So by default, it won't do anything. Let me just a sec, guys. I need to remove this autoplay because it is playing in the background. And yeah, now we have it. Now, guys, yeah, guys, there are different players which you can use. Let's say you want a custom player, you can actually have a custom player for that. You can actually even create your own customized video player if you want to, with the help of JavaScript. Now, let's proceed. So we were talking about anchor tag. So by default, this anchor tag can't do anything. Okay, if you go here, I can see this. Click me to go to the next page, but it won't be able to. Why? Because you don't have something known as a link, a path where it needs to go to. You need something known as a href, a reference, guys, hyper reference. So where should it end, or where should it take you to? Now in the href, you need to specify the path, but for path, I also need to create one. I didn't create a new HTML page for it, right? So let's create one. Let's say its name is contact.html. This is my name, contact.html. Inside it, again, let's create a page. Let's say it's a contact page, and we'll do nothing. We'll just show a heading inside it. Okay, a h1 inside it. We'll show a h1, and it will say contact page, and yep, that's it. Now, if we go here, if we save it, and now we can actually make it target that page. How to make it target that page? Pretty simple. I'll say slash, I'll say index dot, not index.html, my bad, contact.html. And that's it, guys. Now, whenever you click on this anchor tag, it will take you to contact.html page, and your URL will also change. If you go here, refresh the page, now you'll be seeing now the color of the anchor tag also changed. This is the default color of the anchor tag. Okay. Now what I can do, I can actually click on it and it will take me to contact.page, contact.html. You can see it took me to contact.html and it shows contact page at the top. See, yeah, guys, this is how simple you can create a contact page. Now for the contact page also, let's create the same type of anchor tag so that we can navigate back, right? So we can say a tag href and it takes me to HTML. So it takes me to index.html. And what we'll say here is, yeah, we'll say go back to home page. Yeah, this is the message we'll show. So here we should get go back to home page. When we click on it, it takes me to index.html, which is my default page. So now we have a back and forth situation where I can go back and forth to my different pages. So yeah, guys, this is what mostly scenarios you will have. Now we'll see that as well. Don't worry, we'll see that. Now one more section. Now we know how to create a tag which makes it navigate from, you can say, one page to another. But we also have another types of tags, or basically anchor tag, which can navigate me from one website to another. Let's say I want an anchor tag which can navigate me from this website to a google.com website. Can I do that? Yes. Let's say google.com. I'll show this message. I'll show google.com and I want it to navigate me to google.com. What will I do? I'll simply make here, write the full official URL of google.com. Remember, it should have everything. It should have https www.google.com. Full URL is required if you want it to navigate you to a new page, guys. Now, if I go here, if I refresh the page, I should have another URL, which is saying google.com. Let me just see. Okay, I created it on the second page here. Now we have a google.com. If you click on it, you can see it takes me to google.com, which is not a website, but yes, it takes me to a third-party website. Now, guys, whenever you are making a person visit a third-party website, you might have seen most of the websites do it very smartly. They don't make the user forget the initial website. So they open this page in a new tab so that user can still see the previous website from which it was navigated. So it opens it in a new tab. Can I do that? Absolutely. How? Very simple. With this href, you can add something known as a target attribute, and you can specify underscore blank. And that's it, guys. What you said is just a target blank, which means whenever a new page is opening, the target for this anchor tag is a blank tab. So now if you click on it after refresh, it will open this google.com in a new tab. My previous website is available and it opened in a new tab. If you click on it again, it opens in a new tab. So yeah, guys, pretty awesome. Something which you can do. Can I do the same thing for even my, you can say, own URL? Yes, you can. So you can make this open in a new page as well. Let's say you want the website to open your, you can say your own website only, but in a new page. Can I do it? Yes, I can say blank and it will work the same way. If I click on that link as well, it will open in a new tab. So I think it was not refreshed. My bad. And yeah, guys, you can see it opens in a new tab. So yes, the target is applicable not just for that, but for that as well. Now, let's talk about in-page navigation as well. In-page navigation, very easy to do. How can we do it? Let's say we create an anchor tag, but an anchor tag we'll create at the top. Okay, so we'll create an anchor tag here at the top of the page after something. And this anchor tag should take us to that video section. So it should take us to this video section. Can I do it? Absolutely. I need to create an anchor tag. I need to have a href. For now, href needs to be empty. I'll tell you what you need to do. You create this anchor tag like this. Now in this anchor tag, you will say, go to the video. So it should say this message, go to the video. You can see it says, go to the video. Yeah, guys, underscore is compulsory whenever you're specifying underscore blank. It's just a definition or a way of doing it. No specific reason for it. But yeah, now I have a go to the video anchor tag, but it does not do anything. The reason being, you need to actually be able to understand the logic. Okay, what's the logic behind it? The pretty logic is that if I click on this button, I want it to navigate to a particular section. Like I want it to navigate to this video section. Now, if I want you, or if I want it to scroll to this section, first I need a way to basically depict that which section it is. I want it to be capable. I want my website to be capable of figuring out where this section is present. So I can do that. And in this, I can take the help of ID attribute, guys. So basically, to this video section, I can add an ID attribute. I told you ID attribute can be added to any section. So for finding out this section with the help of anchor tag, I can use an ID attribute. And I know that ID attributes are unique, guys. ID attributes are unique. So a single video can have a single type of ID attribute. So I can say video one. So let's say this is my ID for this video. Now on the basis of this ID, I can now target this video attribute, or basically this video element. How? I can simply say that take me to that particular element which has a ID of video one. That's it. That is what you need to do. Now, if I click on this, it will take me automatically, it will scroll to this video part. Let me just show you. You can see it scrolled me to the video part automatically. If I click on it again, it scrolled me to the videos part. Yes, guys. This is how simple it is to make in-page navigation. No, guys, you can only use ID. You can't use classes. The reason being very simple. IDs are supposed to be unique. And the way your navigation works, it should also be unique, right? The navigation should always be unique. You should have a single button which navigates you to a single section. No two buttons to navigate to a single section. That's why they are created this way. Yeah, classes can be multiple. So because of that logic, they created it only for ID basis. And you can see when you specify a ID, remember you need to specify a hash in the starting. Okay, hash and then the ID's value. See guys, it's pretty simple. If I want a button in my page, which can take me to that particular or to a particular section, the first thing I need is a way to target that section, right? If I want an image or if I want a link here, which should take me to this image, I first need to know, right, where exactly this image is placed on my page. That is what I should be able to find out. How can I find out that? Very simple. I can find out that with the help of a ID attribute. So to this image, I can give a ID attribute. So I can give a ID attribute for this image. Let's say I give a ID of image one. So now my image one has a ID of image one, and now nothing on the page can have the same ID. Only this element has the ID of image one. Now I can create a button here which can say that take me to a element which has a ID of one. And whenever you click on that button, it will take you to that particular element with that particular ID, right? That is what is happening here. When I click on it, it takes me to a element which has a ID of video one. Now got it? How the elements or the navigation is working. So if you think that target blank, what will happen if I use a target blank? Let's see. Let's check. You can do the experiment, guys. It's pretty simple. I would encourage if you do the experiments on your own as well, because yes, it will help you understand some logics very well. Let's say that, yeah, I created something. Let me just go back to the page. So not here. What I need to go to is home page. Yep, I'm on the home page. Now what I need to do is whenever I click on it, I added a target of blank. So what will happen? You can see it opened it in a new tab. And yes, it navigated to that section. So it will automatically, guys, navigate to that section as well. Okay, so navigation happens automatically. You can see it still navigated to the video section. So yes, it is powerful enough to do that. And yeah, guys, that is it for today. Okay, so that is it for today. Now we talked about a lot of different things. We talked about paragraph elements. We talked about text formatting. We talked about ordered and unordered list. We talked about videos and images. And we also talked about anchor tags. So yes, pretty amazing. We talked about a lot of things. Now, one thing I want you to do on your own. It's like a little bit homework. Not necessary. If you have some free time, definitely try it out. I will provide you a resource and I want you to go through it because that is what we'll be covering tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about forms and input fields. So I want you to read through input fields in HTML. I'll give you a link for it. This is W3. Guys, whatever you need to know, right? One of the reasons I don't provide you with specific notes is because everything is present on the internet, guys. You don't need some additional notes for it. Everything is built by professionals on the internet, and they have been doing it for a time period. So that's why you really don't require some additional notes on it. You just need some additional resource from the internet which you can use. And I find W3 School to be the best. You can find about any single tag, whatever tag you have in the, you can say HTML, you can figure out here. You can find every detail of it. Similarly for CSS, JavaScript, SQL, Python, whatever you want, even Bootstrap, which we'll learn later. So input, you can see input attribute, input element. I talked about it. So just go through input, what it does, what all things are present in it. Even if you just read it out, it will be very clear tomorrow when I explained it. And secondly, I was talking about form. So if I have a form attribute, if I can just show you form attribute, yes. So you can see HTML forms. That is the first related page you will find. So yes, HTML forms, and it will also show you the form attribute and how it works. We'll talk about it in detail tomorrow, but if you have some time, do go through it, do read it out a little bit, and it will be way more clear tomorrow when we talk about it. Sorry guys, not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. My bad. I was saying tomorrow, but yes, it will not be tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And yeah, guys, I'll provide you with the code sandbox link as well. Sure, I'll do that. So let me just first share these two links. And yeah, guys, if any one of you is free, please share all the links which I did just in the meeting, right? I shared 2 or 3 links earlier. If someone has a record of that, also share those links in the class unofficial group. Okay, so please share them in the unofficial group as well. So guys, DSA links are not with me. They will be provided to you on the official group. And I told you that that will be provided from the second week. So don't worry about it. You will get it. Now, what else I have to share you? Okay, the code sandbox link as well. So code sandbox link. So yeah, guys, you can access it. The code sandbox is also free for you to access. And yeah, guys, that is it for today. I've shared all of them. Please, someone share it on the unofficial group as well for a record so that everyone receives it. And that is it for today. Guys, if some of you are not in the unofficial group, DM me. Okay. DM me and I'll add you to the unofficial group. And yeah, guys, that is it for today. So thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. And we'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue with the rest of it. Guys, you can make a custom video player with the help of something known as JavaScript. So in JavaScript, you can trigger some certain elements. You can see that you can create a custom button for playing. You can create a custom button for pausing. You can create a custom button for skipping 5 seconds earlier, skipping 5 seconds back. So you can do that. See guys, if you're not in the unofficial group, you'll have my number there. In the official group, you will be present. Still, you would be present in the official group. So in my official group, you can find my number. My name is Aditya Gosai. You'll find it there. If you are in the official group, not in the unofficial group, you'll find my number in the official group. If you are in the unofficial group, not in the official group, you'll still find my number in the unofficial group. So vice versa, it will work. Okay. Find my number there and DM me after that. And yeah, guys, that is it for today, guys. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. We'll meet day after tomorrow and we'll proceed with the rest of it. Bye, guys. Good night. Bye, everyone. Thank you for attending. Thank you for joining.